All right, well, if you needed a reminder or a snapshot into the Democratic Party, I think the Democratic debates did a great job in giving that to you. It was basically 22 people piling on top of each other, clawing and scratching their way to the top of the pile, desperately and quite pathetically screaming about all of the free things they're going to give to you. It was very sad to see. Each candidate's worth seems to be directly tied to how much free stuff they're promising everyone. Free college, free healthcare for illegal immigrants, student debt forgiveness, free housing. Although I didn't hear them promise any free vehicles, so they're not that far gone, I guess. But the one person that was somewhat honest about this was Bernie Sanders, and I've mentioned this before. Sanders admitted this in his healthcare debate with Ted Cruz way back when. Sanders admitted that yes, even the low-income, middle-class people will have to pay higher taxes for all this stuff. Well, thank you for the honesty, but you need to stop saying free. This is not some Republican cliche talking point. If I have to pay the government more money and it gets filtered through some middlemen, bureaucrats, and the red-taped minefield of government, and I get some shoddy service at the end of it, is quite literally not free. So he really needs to stop saying that word, although I know he won't, because that is the favored word of all politicians. It's the one that really gets your constituents on your side, which leads me back to my original point. How sad of a display were these debates? How obvious does it need to become to people that all of these candidates are doing are just attempting to pander for and purchase your vote? They have no idea how to do the things they're promising. Nobody does, because it's an impossible task. If you're a candidate that is promising to take care of and pay for everyone's education and everyone's health care, then the stakes for you are infinitely high. I don't want to hear you dodging one question. I don't want to hear you fumbling one answer. If you are claiming you are going to be able to do this and not have horrible unintended consequences come about from it, you, at the very least, have to be as undeniable as humanly possible. You have to be nearly omniscient. You are not allowed to give any cliched or fragmented answers. If you're claiming you can do these things, you need to give extraordinarily hyper-laser focused and detailed answers as to how you get it done. And you need to explain how every single concern everyone can come up with against your ideas will be dealt with and neutralized. Of course, this is an impossible task, which, by the way, if just explaining and detailing out how it's going to be done without causing horrible unintended consequences, if that is an impossible task, then certainly actually doing any of this would be an impossible task as well. Nobody can do what any of these candidates are claiming should be done, and certainly not any one of the people who are up on that stage can get it done. It was pathetic. And when I say pathetic, I'm not merely being insulting. I mean, when I was watching these debates, that was the only word I could not keep out of my mind. Now, there are two people that I did feel bad for because they got the Ron Paul treatment, and that was Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard. Now, of course, I wouldn't support either one of them. Tulsi Gabbard has it together on foreign policy, but that's about it. But I did feel bad for them. When contrasting those two with Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Beto O'Rourke, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Yang and Gabbard actually seemed like two human beings with their heads screwed on right. Again, I totally disagree with them on a whole host of things, but they didn't seem completely out of their minds, yet they got screwed. They got a pitiful amount of camera time, and they seemed to have cut Yang's mic off at one point. It just reminded me of Ron Paul when he was on the debate stage with the Republicans, and he was the only one not yelling out canned cliche Republican talking points, actually bringing up sensible foreign policy and the Federal Reserve, and when abortion came up, Ron Paul had to clamor for some camera time by reminding them he was a doctor, so they might want to give him a moment to speak on that subject. He got screwed, and I feel like Yang and Gabbard got the same exact treatment, and it's too bad for the Democratic Party. They've been told before all they need to do is not seem insane. Well, they failed at that pretty miserably. But that's all for now. Like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff, and you take it easy, my friends.